Hello, this is Bullet with another video few will ever see, and I'm okay with that, because I'm really shy. Yesterday was day 2 of the Destiny beta launch. I reluctantly call it beta, because it isn't a beta. It's just an early look at a strike, 2 Crucible maps, and 2 Crucible game types. But I have accepted it for what it is, and I'm moving on. So in today's video, we're going to check out the Destiny beta version of the new Voidwalker subclass for Warlocks. I'm not going to get into the technical aspects. Here we're just looking at the overall effects of some of the things, or the new things the Voidwalker class offers. Alright, right off you're going to see the option system looks a little different here. But a lot of it's the same, just kind of skinned differently. But there's some notable changes here, and the way the overall subclass performs in gameplay is a lot different. Here you've got your various grenades. I basically used these two yesterday. Never really gave the Vortex grenade a shot. But again, they both play differently. The scatter grenade you used to throw, and it almost had this crystal effect when it would hit the ground and, scatter. And this, it's more of like a soft, kind of gassy bubble that kind of hits and then breaks off, and it's very interesting. Also, there's some new changes with the Nova Bomb itself. It flows really slow. It's like a void fart bubble. I mean, it just is this slow moving, like it's underwater uh, wall of purple gas that uh, anybody not on drugs can get out of the way of. Uh, uh, but it's unique in that one of the benefits is that since it moves so slow, you can throw it and or hurl it in the direction of whatever it is you need to kill. But if they start to run out of the way, you can shoot it, and it'll explode the Nova Bomb, and then it creates a bunch of projectiles that seek out nearby enemies, and so that's pretty cool. Some other stuff that's new. As part of your super, you can, or your super, of the subclass, you can hold down the B button, and it creates, which we'll take a look at in a little bit, a little kind of circle on the ground. And in this case, while you're in it, it heals you. So if you're taking damage, you can do this. It's not going to protect you a whole lot, as I found out when you're getting shot at. But if you're doing damage, anybody that you and anyone that's in this area, it'll get your health back up. I didn't use that a lot on this particular class. It seems like most of the your various characters have this option. And this is the one that I use most of the time. It's the same thing, the same void area circle on the ground, but it allows you to do slightly more damage. And we'll take a look at this later if I can find the clip. I did some experimenting with it during one of the strikes, or during the strike. Now down here we have our 3 different types of jumps, just like in the old game. There's not really a lot to see here, although I've never been like a big blink person. But I was experimenting with it for the first time ever in the history of as long as I've been playing Destiny. I was experimenting with it in the Crucible, and I found it to be pretty effective. I might be a new fan of that. Anyway, I very much enjoyed that. But for regular gameplay, I usually either have it on the Strafe Glide or the Burst Glide if I need to get places quickly. Like if there's going to be an area I just need to kind of run through and I want to jump. Now over here, we've got these are just a basic little side bonuses to your various Voidwalker skills that allow you to do different things. Where's the one I'm looking at? Yeah, this Chaos Accelerant. I never tried it, and the reason I didn't mess with it is because I watched a video yesterday before I started playing that Dado put out, and he was doing some experiments with this during the strike, and he was looking at the difference in damage, and he didn't really see any. He noticed that when he used it with the scatter grenade, it added like 2 additional trackers. And overall, my impression of the things that he said about it, to me, made it seem like it really doesn't serve a purpose. It might be something that's more effective in the Crucible. I didn't try it in the Crucible, and I probably should have, because the grenades that I was using, they were horrible. There were times I would sit there and everybody's on B, and I would throw a grenade right in the middle of. I would hit people with this grenade, and they just keep running like it was a fart in the breeze. I mean, it was. Most of the time, it had no effect or very little effect on them. And of course, this is me we're talking about, and they could just, look at me, threaten me with a grenade, and my character would die. But we'll take a look at some of that in a little bit. Anyways, these are just various little things here that you get with that, seem to come standard in the beta. Now down here, these are some upgrade options that we don't have access to yet, as I found after hours and hours and hours of gameplay yesterday. We're not ranking up. We're just kind of set at level 20 and a 200 light. So I don't know what any of these do, but they one of them here, where was it? Let me see. Yeah, no, I thought this one could be really helpful. Feed the void. Let's say you've got some grenades, but let's say you're on you're doing the nightfall, the weekly nightfall, and one of the Jesus Christ, I can't think of what they call it, but one of the weekly modifiers is the one that doesn't, you have extra shield, but it doesn't really regenerate. This will be great for those raids and nightfalls. I would imagine you can just use this and regenerate your health, which I think is going to be awesome. So that's going to be fun to experiment with in September. Anyway, so let's start looking at some gameplay, shall we? The match just started. I run to B. I jump up. I throw my grenade right at the guy. Nothing happens. Let's slow it down and take another look. I throw it. Lands about a foot away. He's there when it hits. I don't know why it had no effect on him. But in this next clip, we've got I stick the guy, and it actually does a little damage. Takes him out. In my opinion, the grenade's effectiveness, there doesn't really seem to be any difference from Destiny to Destiny 2. They perform different, or they look a little different. But it's hit and miss with them. Sometimes they kill people, and sometimes you can throw it right at them, and they walk through it and seem to laugh at you. All right, now next up, we're going to look at the Voidwalker Empowering Rift option. This can be fun. The Health Rift, like I said earlier, it just, it restores your health, and any of your friends that run through it, it increases their health. So that's a good thing, and that's going to have a lot of uses. As far as the PvE or PvP experience, I don't think it serves a purpose. But the Empowering Rift option, I think, has some potential here. It has some potential in PvE. So let's take a look at using this in some Crucible action and control. What I do here I found to be very effective. I'd put down the Rift and then just nail everyone on B. I mean, I did that so many times. Also, there were times you're trying to capture one of these flags, and you can sit there and throw down this rift and do a lot more damage to the people coming at you. It's done well. It's a very effective tool, but I mean, you're still vulnerable. If they shoot you a lot, you're gonna die. It's not like it's protecting you in any way, but it's allowing you to do a little bit more damage. Let's take a look at its effects in PvE. Alright, here I'm going to use a sniper rifle. That seems to be the most effective. Nothing else seems to do any significant damage to them. But I'll employ the Rift, and you'll see I'm getting like 1,000. What is it here? Let's see. 1,085 on average a shot, and then when it goes away, it drops down to 900. Yeah, 905. So we're looking at a little over 100 in damage increase. Not a lot, but I mean it's so difficult to do any damage at all to the boss. I mean all the enemies in general, but that's a rant for another day. It's the beta, so I'm sure they're exploring damage levels and listening to what people have to say. Last but not least, we're going to look at the Nova Bomb. We're going to check out its effects in PvP and PvE. This first instance of using the Nova Bomb, I only put it in here just because it was fun. We don't really get to see its effectiveness, but I just thought it was fun that I jumped on the back of this ship and then jumped up in the air, and while in the air thought, I'm going to Nova Bomb them. Would have been a better clip, but as I was falling, I looked down instead of keeping my eyes on the target. Here I saw a herd of Vex. Thought it would be fun to see how many I could get. I took out all but one of them. Not bad. A little disappointed it didn't get all of them, but it was a good Nova bombing. Now here we don't get to see a direct hit of the Nova Bomb, but it's a good example of showing how slow it is and how casually this guy walks completely out of its way. I mean, he walks out of the way, walks back in front of it, and then out of the way again. That's how slow the Nova Bomb is. Now in this clip, it's a direct hit, and it's a little discouraging. The reason being, I wanted to make sure I got some clips of, hits and the after effects. So I stood there knowing I was going to die. But as you see, what's disappointing about it is that it did the same amount of damage as the indirect hit. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what seemed to be the case here. Now let's take a look at its effect in PvP. This first clip is kind of ugly. I spam the thing down there, and I don't see anybody. I mean, it missed, but the trackers on it came back. I mean, I threw it past these guys, and the trackers came back and took out 2 players. So that was kind of cool. This is where it's most effective. I only get a couple of players here, but I nailed them both trying to capture the flag. It has its effects if you can get right up on them. It's even effective, and I don't have a clip of it here. It's silent, and you can throw this thing, and people aren't going to see it, or if they're not looking, they're not going to hear it. If they don't see you and you can throw this thing at a group of players in one of the zones, you can take them all out. It can be a lot of fun. I really look forward to using this. The only real concerns I have, and this goes for all of the abilities, and it seems to affect every character, they take forever. And I understand in player versus player that people, they want more gunplay, and they want more skill. They don't want people just spamming supers all the time. I don't know what makes the supers generate faster or slower, or if there's going to be something that affects that. But there's been times I've gone through entire matches of the Crucible here, and I never got a chance. I mean, my Nova Bomb was never ready. I mean, it never fully developed. That's 8 or 9 minutes of gameplay. I never got to use a super. So I don't know if getting more kills affects it. I don't know what speeds it up. But I think it slowed down a little too much. You should be able to get it at least once in a game, if in a match, if not twice. But at least once. And all of the abilities seem to take a really long time to be ready. There's from your grenades, using the Rift feature and Nova Bombs or whatever your super is going to be, they just take forever. When it comes to the PvE environment, I think not having a super so often, it really seems to slow down the pace of the strike to where I think it kind of gets boring. You're shooting and you're not doing a lot of damage. Everything's harder to kill, and you don't even get a super to help you out along the way. I hope they take a look at that in the actual release. There's times when I'm doing the strike. The strike takes usually around 20 minutes. It can take even longer. I mean, I was in there for an hour and 12 minutes. I think the first time I tried it. I mean, people, when they get to the final room, quit a lot. I've had multiple people quit because you get all the way to the end and there's just a sliver of life left in the boss, and you all die. And it's back to the beginning. And when you've been fighting the guy for 15 or 20 minutes, last night, Medium and I were playing, and there was just a sliver left, and after both of us died, or all 3 of us died, and it put us back to the beginning of the boss fight. And which isn't anything new, but the boss fight is so long and tedious. And he was done. He's like, it was late anyways, and he had to leave. I think they need to make some changes there. I understand what they're doing, that they're trying to keep it so you can't just spam your super and your grenades throughout PvP. But in PvE, it's so hard to do damage to anyone. I mean, they're red bars, and you throw grenades at them, and it doesn't do anything. I mean, it's got to be like a direct hit, and they've got to be weak. It's so hard to do damage to these guys. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm sure they're going to change it, and they're going to look at it. It's been fun experimenting with it and seeing what works and what doesn't. And I'm looking forward to seeing what their final product's going to be. I've been very disappointed in this beta. As I said at the beginning of this video, I've moved past that and I'm looking at what there is now and taking a look at it. So this was our dive into the Voidwalker. I think today I'll be looking at the Hunter, because I noticed the other day as I was playing, I was impressed with the Hunter's melee abilities. In Destiny, the Hunter has like the weakest melee. And when I was using the Hunter the other day, I was hitting people and doing damage and killing people, and so I'm looking forward today to diving into that and checking out the abilities and the bombs and if there's a rift option, and so we have that to look forward to in our next video tomorrow. As always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Like the video, that would be great. Leave a comment. Did you hate it? Did you think it sucks? Anything except don't spam me your free music and want me to go check out some other page promoting something. Enough already. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate every subscriber, every like. It means a lot. Thanks, have a great day, and I'll be back tomorrow, maybe later today, who knows.